one more thing. This is going to be a very different conversation than the last two that we had. Because I want to talk fashion, Alex. We're talking fashion.
Ain't got none.
That's fair. People have seen... If people are watching this, they know exactly how little fashion we have, but that's why we need help. So, I wanted to talk about the kind of thing that you rarely ever discuss, which is how to dress your PC. The reason why I bring this up is because a lot of times you get so deep in the weeds about your stat blocks and your character development and your storyline, you don't think about, if you're dressing for success. When you get out there on the battlefield, if you're wearing proper attire, both on the battlefield and off, and you don't really think about it until you have to draw your character or you have art made for them.
Or until you realize that you're only wearing your explorer's outfit and not wearing your armor, and suddenly you're in combat and have to put your armor on.
Yeah, what's really weird is when people were talking about like the armor thing when I was playing D&D, because like I was a turtle, so I never had to wear armor. Armor was pointless. But if I was a character that had to do armor, the idea that like I can't just throw the armor on, no. There's a lot that goes into armor when you're dressing, so you can't just like throw it on. And I was like, I imagine that most people are just like, I'm just always in the armor,
Yeah, and even then, you're supposed to take penalties if you're like sleeping in medium or heavy armor, for instance. It's like,
really?
Yeah, you get fatigued.
Oh, you get fatigued because
Or something like that. It's like it's not comfy.
I would think that it would be incredibly reassuring to be wearing giant armor.
Sure, safe, but not comfortable. You ever tried sleeping in full plate?
I don't even own full plate, so
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
There's your fashion sense.
Exactly.
Doesn't own full plate.
Exactly. So you have to assume that a lot of times people are probably just going to be walking around or, doing their regular stuff in clothing. Basic old clothing. Unless you're a monk, at which point that's all you ever wear anyway. But for most of your characters, you're going to have to wear something at a certain point, and you probably don't want to be walking around in rags. Have you ever had a case where, from a role-playing standpoint, NPCs made mention of something that you were actually wearing, like the clothes that you were wearing?
No.
See, I think that's a lost opportunity.
I mean, here I was just thinking too, like, what if you go into town, you're just dressed to the nines in your armor and weapons?
Amazing.
So some towns in RPGs will be like, yeah, don't pull your weapons out, I'm sure. I've never really encountered it in personal game, but I know, like, especially in some video games, it's like, yeah, don't pull your weapon out in fucking town.
Yeah, they're not gonna
That's
appreciate
a
it.
no-no.
No.
So, like, but can you imagine walking into a town and just dressed full in armor, like with a party full of people? They're gonna be like, yeah, you guys look ready for battle, and we're gonna be keeping our eyes on you.
Yeah, exactly. The captain
Can you
of the
imagine?
guard. Not happy.
Yeah, can you imagine if they were just like, whoa, hold on, before you enter town, that attire ain't gonna do it.
Not
Armor off,
Yeah.
stays in the armory.
Yeah. You go to the fancy ball, you're still wearing your cuirass.
I mean, in those cases, you have magical armor that's got the glamored enchantment, so it just looks like street clothes or fancy clothes, whatever.
Yeah, but it's if you have the magic abilities. If you don't have magic abilities, you're just going to be just huffing around giant plate.
Yeah, so I know in video games it's a lot more common, not to necessarily wear street clothes, but to pay more attention to what you're looking like and what you're wearing.
Yeah, I've played a lot of RPGs where they just kind of sidestep the entire thing.
But I've also played a bunch where they're like, "Oh, you'd like to change the look of your armor? That's fine. Go ahead and change the which armor you're wearing, what color it is, how it looks, your weapons. Just kind of really transmogrify that up."
Yeah,
In a lot of RPGs,
Yeah.
will let you do that now.
they'll let you customize a lot of your armor options, even if and just kind of separating that from the actual stats of what it does.
Yeah, because usually it's only cosmetic effects.
Right. And I have seen many cases where that actually the helmet off option, so that you can see people's faces, even though you get the helmet benefits bonuses.
Right.
That's happened in a lot of them. But if you play something like a Witcher or a Fable, they just have you in the armor. Like whatever your armor is, you're just always in it. But usually the kind of armor that you're wearing, at least in a Fable, does matter because it will change people's perception of you. It
Sure.
will.
And then even in The Witcher, it's, if there were scenes that you're doing where you weren't in armor, you would be dressed differently.
That's true. Yeah. In Fable, they actually made a system, and I think I've seen it in other ones, I'll probably think of them soon, where if you, depending on what armor sets you're wearing, it will actually change what people consider your attractiveness or your scariness, like how they will react to you in a fairly rudimentary way, but it does actually affect people's opinion. If you come in with like a full handlebar mustache, like you just got done tying somebody to a railroad track or something like that, they might have a relatively unfavorable opinion. Although I think the funny thing was, in the original Fable, it was like the mutton chops, like the full-on mutton chops, like was like high attractiveness in that, or it was like really high attractiveness for stuff like that, and would also occasionally affect your alignment, depending on whether you're wearing the bright or the dark plate mail.
Yeah.
Or the wizard robes or stuff like that. But those are mostly just like stat changes. It doesn't really affect your status or where you can actually wear it. I think the fashion aspect, though, rarely actually comes into play, even and in the social parts of it. Like I never really, during my time playing games, occasionally you'd go to like the fancy balls and stuff like that, and they don't really spend much time making sure that you have dressed appropriately for it. I think that we did touch on it with Dr. McFly when we had to go to like a Lord's Ball, and we were going to go to a fancy dinner, especially because he doesn't do that very often. He doesn't go to high society balls. Some of the other characters were more familiar. Yeah, exactly. So I think I wore something in tweed, which was pretty much what I normally wear anyway, so just try to make that work. A good all-rounder outfit. Rembrandt, obviously, since he was a turtle, he just always had a shell, and so that was pretty much what he wore, although there was kind of like a little bit of a loincloth, I guess, just for modesty's sake, but
Sure.
yeah, no one ever questioned him on that. The armor wouldn't have done him any good, unless they coated it in metal, maybe. I don't know. We never got
Sure.
to...
My Dragonborn would wander around mostly naked some days,
Yeah, it's pretty...
but he's also a shape changer, so...
Yeah. I think that, if you're going to be an adventurer, I think one of the great things about it is you feel like you have the freedom to just go all natural. Just wandering around streets. Just
Yeah, that's how those barbarians get those intimidation checks.
Yeah, exactly. Just wander around naked in the streets. And who's going to say anything about it? Not... Do you think the guards are going to walk up to you and say anything? You're a
Oh,
friggin'
when they avert their eyes is when you get your backstab bonus.
Oh, so this is also good for thieves.
Absolutely. I
New...
mean, either don't be seen or make them look away.
Yeah, naked thieves. That's the whole thing about the public displays of affection, is that people usually look away when they see public displays of affection, so definitely do it. And then when their back is turned, you can pick their pocket. You need like a two-man thief team in order to make that work.
So you need to double team the thief.
You got to double team your mark in order for that to work. Yeah, I don't know how much in the weeds you want to get, but have you ever noticed that usually when you're picking out your character, they usually say like you have a set of simple clothes or something like that? They rarely discuss that you have different outfits that you need to have 3 different outfits. You need to have your casual, you need to have your formal wear, and you need to have your bathing suit. You need to have 3 different sets of clothing, and you're going to be required to know which one you're going to be in at any
3?
time.
I've only ever had like my explorer's outfit
Yeah.
or whatever, hermit's outfit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like simple clothes and then this other outfit, and then it's like, do I ever wash these though?
Not unless you're near a lake. Maybe you could just wash them in the river or pond or stream,
Magically
other
clean
body
them.
of water. Magically clean them. No
We
one
should
ever
just
talks
get-
about cleaning.
We should just give adventurers a single magic set of clothing that never gets dirty,
Mm-hmm.
or you can clean it on command, and it takes like an hour for it to clean itself,
Mm-hmm.
and then it can just be whatever outfit style you need it to be.
Sure.
Not at whim, but
Yeah. The system that they had in Kingdom Come Deliverance, actually, and for the record, I was just playing Medieval Dynasty, there is a system where you can get dirty.
Oh, good.
And
Perfect.
that in Medieval Dynasty, I believe it affects some of your stats. It actually does affect some of your stats if you're dirty. But in Kingdom Come Deliverance, what was really interesting is that if your armor is dirty, it does make characters not appreciate you quite as much. You get
Yeah, you gotta
weird
keep the
looks.
armor polished at all times.
But you know how you actually clean the armor? This is the best part.
What?
They have the wash tubs around town. You just pop yourself into the wash tub and you like bend down for a second and you've washed off your armor.
I feel like that would cause armor to rust.
Yeah. Well, the problem with a couple of those games is that their attempts at realism then seem completely unrealistic when they come up with the solution to the thing.
Yeah.
because in the Medieval Dynasty 2 is like, if you're dirty, well, just find a body of water, dip into the water for a bit, and then come back out and you're clean again. So, maybe not the most realistic way to deal with that very trivial thing.
You have to go to the bathroom in Medieval Dynasty.
No!
Then why do they care about your cleanliness?
That is true.
Do you have to brush your teeth?
No.
Alright, then who gives a shit? If you're not gonna go full into the weeds with it, then
Yeah.
don't give me bullshit like that.
Yeah, this is not like a survival game like, Green Hell or something like
This
that.
isn't The Sims.
Exactly. And really, if they gave you those systems very much like The Sims, you would just try to exploit it to torture them every single day.
Absolutely. Totally different game. I love it.
Come to think of it, when you build the houses in Medieval Dynasty, there's no bathroom.
Is there a floor?
There is a floor.
Actually, to be fair, if there was a bathroom, it'd probably be like chamber pot and that, so.
That's true. I don't remember seeing a chamber pot.
Or an outhouse. I mean, they should just add an outhouse.
Yeah. I never saw the ability to even make an outhouse. So, there's that. They're just freeballing out in the woods, apparently. Just
Yeah. Games just
Popping a
don't want
squat.
to take the animations and stuff needed to have people sitting on toilets and
And-
squatting over pots.
But, I think that they're willing to do it because have you seen how many people do teabagging in the...
That's fair.
I think that they're more than willing to do the animation for it. They just didn't know if it would be like a selling point. Can you imagine like looking on like the features of your game and it's like realistic shitting animation.
New Steam title is Bathroom Stall Simulator.
Yes, exactly. Can't wait. Perfect. We're gonna have to build that. But yeah, no. When it comes to like cleanliness and cleaning off your clothes and stuff like that, it feels like it's always just a matter of convenience whenever they put a system in place. It's just the clothes can be on you. You wash the clothes while they're on you, and you just work with it. So I don't know. I kind of like the idea of being. I don't want to carry a wardrobe around with me, but I feel like you almost have to think of your PC like you would think of normally taking a trip. I'm going on a quest across the world, and I'm going to be in a variety of situations, pack an overnight bag. Get, have a couple different sets of clothes for whatever occasion you might need. If I'm going to have a backpack, I might as well have like a suitcase and have a couple good pairs of shoes and some clean underwear. And then I'm going to need to have probably a formal wear kind of thing for formal occasions, something I can wear around town, and something that's a little scrappier so that I can be out in the woods. And it's going to protect me from thorns and the occasional dragon.
Yeah.
Is that overthinking it, though?
Nah.
There's no such thing.
No such thing.
No such thing. Can you imagine if we had, like, you're playing the Dungeons and Dragons, right? Or you playing any of the RPGs. And there was just a whole scenario, have to find out if this is real, that's just a fashion show. Like Skyrim fashion show we could do. And that would put on full display all the different clothes. There'd have to be a tailor shop where you could buy a whole, like, different clothing, and you'd have to, like, infiltrate the fashion show, sort of like that Hitman mission.
Oh, jeez. That might be interesting, but
Might be interesting.
who knows?
I think that's a very niche thing that most gamers would not necessarily think to play.
Probably.
Oh
well.
I don't know if there's a lot of intersectionality there between those two things. But anyway, if for no other reason, though, I think it's worth thinking about what your character is dressed as so that you know what your character model is going to be if someone draws it.
There you go.
But
It's armor.
Yeah. It's just
Just
armor.
armor.
It's just armor all the time.
Yes.
Armor painted clothing.
Painted armor clothing.
Yeah. Either
It's
one
like
of those
the
works.
fake tuxedo shirts.
Yeah, exactly. You have like the sweater vest, but it's just on the t-shirt. Serves every purpose.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the Swiss Army knife of shirts. There's the episode title. Anyway,